Hey guys, I'm Becky and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking all about an emergency fund and what that is and why it's really important for you to have. An emergency fund is basically just a stash or a reserve of cash that you have sitting on the down low, ready for an emergency situation that you can pull up really fast. It's like your reserve. And it's an essential part of basically any financial plan that you should have with the duration of your life and any friends and family. It's a key component of what you need to set yourself up for success and have a safety net in place. So what are emergency funds used for? You can use it for emergency medical bills. Say you break your foot or your ankle or your kid falls down and cracks their head open. Or home repairs, say your pipe bursts and your house floods or your apartment floods or the electricity goes out and you have a fire, anything like that. Car repairs, say you blow a tire. Maybe your alternator goes out and you can't get your car to run, you need to fix that right away. Or maybe you get fired, you get laid off, you get furloughed, you lose your job unexpectedly, and you're going to be without income for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, maybe even a year. Or maybe it's just that you've lost someone, an unexpected death of a parent or maybe even your spouse. Anything like that would fall into this emergency fund category. So why do you really need an emergency fund? Because we all know that we have credit cards readily available and we should have investment portfolios at some point in time and just regular cash that we have. Well, we all know that when it rains, it really tends to pour down, and for me it always seems to happen in threes. And more often than not, when my car breaks down, something else is going to go down too. Like I had to replace the tubings in my water lines, they broke, and so I had to replace those. And no matter how small it can seem, it can really hit hard if it's unplanned and you don't have something set aside to pay for it. So if you're already struggling to make ends meet, don't worry, you're not alone. A study done by Career Builders found that 51% of people, 51%, that are making more than $50,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they don't have a reserve, they're not putting anything towards retirement, they're not saving it, they're not putting it towards an emergency fund, they're just simply living paycheck to paycheck. It comes in, it goes out, and there's nothing left over. So maintaining an emergency fund is so important. Like, I wish I could stress this more than I physically can, but it is so important that it's actually step 2 in my 9 steps to be financially stable. Step number 2 is to build and maintain an emergency fund. It should be done before you start investing, before you start planning for that retirement. All of those steps you should be putting into an emergency fund. And an emergency fund is a backup plan. It's what you're falling back into when everything hits the fan, and you need to have that safety net, that protection tucked away and easily accessible so you can pull it at a moment's notice when you need it. You don't want to have to go and rack up a ton of credit card debt or take out an emergency loan at a super high interest rate just to make it through, say, a tire going out in your car. You want to be able to go, hey, I've got a couple $1,000s stashed here, maybe a couple $100s stashed. I'll go pull this out, I'll take care of it, and then I'll build back into the emergency fund to build it up to that same level so that when this happens again, I don't have to take out that loan. So how big should your emergency fund be? Well, generally speaking, you would want at least 3 months of expenses in the emergency fund. I like to think 6 months is better. Just depends on your situation, how steady your job is, are you working seasonal job, anything in that aspect kind of filters into that. But 6 months, 3 to 6 months is really a good place to look at in the long run. But we all know that saving up enough money to cover 6 months of expenses is not going to be an easy task. It's not going to come very fast, and it's no easy feat. But you just have to kind of start somewhere, and if you can build up $5 to $50 and then to $100 and then keep building from that, you're on the right path. It will just take time and patience, and you just need to keep working on it. So the best way to build up your emergency fund is to have a budget and to stick to your budget. You can follow the budget month by month, and you will know how much money you need to cover those expenses for the 3 to 6 months. It gives you a baseline on what you're looking at, and it also helps you with that information to be able to know, okay, can I put in $5 this month? Can I put in $10 this month? And take those steps to build up that emergency fund. So where should you keep your emergency fund? I think that any place that is readily accessible is fantastic for it. You don't want it tied up in a long-term investment or anything in that regards, because you want to be able to pull it in a day, maybe even less than a day. You want to have it there. And I think a high yield savings account or a money market account are the best options to go in regards to this. I personally keep a couple $100s cash on hand. I actually got to Germany, my debit card did not work, and so I didn't have any way to actually pull out any money at all because nothing was working. And so I like to keep a couple $100s of cash in hand just in case I need to go and buy groceries and put food on the table and all of that. I have that. So I have two components of my emergency fund. I have a small cash amount inside my house, and then the rest of it is in a high interest checking account, basically. I think it's just important to remember that your emergency fund is your safety net. It's there to act as an insurance policy and make sure that you're taken care of, your family's taken care of, and whatever situation comes your way, you're prepared for it in the best way possible, and you don't have to go into debt or basically screw yourself over in the long run. So I think it's a good thing to keep your stress level down and give you peace of mind knowing that when everything falls apart and it feels like it's just coming in and it's pouring down, that you've got that safety net set up. So I'll link down below on how to set up a budget and how to set goals, and honestly, I wish more people had these. They're so phenomenal and they just help you out in the worst times, and you won't need it. You won't love it until you need it, and then you'll be so glad that you have it. So please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, start saving for emergency fund and get that built up, and just cover your butt, cover your family's butt, and make sure that you're taken care of. Alright guys, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.